the speaker and the level of a student matches. So can there be any better person than Maharaj Bharat asking a question to his father? And can there be anyone better than Maharaj Rishabdev answering the question? So therefore he says, my dear father. Now topic comes from the point when Rishabdev, he is willing to leave the kingdom and go to the forest to meditate. So the idea of his son is, my dear father, you are so elevated in your path of devotional service. You will benefit more people by being at the kingdom and educating them here than to you go in the forest and meditate there. How many people will benefit you there? Is this question valid? So that's what the question of his son is. We don't want your daddy, we don't want you to be here and work and maintain us. That's not our desire anymore. We just want you to teach people the path of Krishna consciousness. Being here, more people will benefit from you. Other will take care of it. We will not put any burden on you. I'm sure you will be happy if your children say that to you. Dad, you don't need to work anything. Just preach Krishna consciousness matter, and we will just work and we'll maintain you. Don't worry. We'll give you everything that you need. So that's what Rishabdev is being said by his son. So then Rishabdev gives one analogy. He said, just as hunter does not trust the animal which is half injured. When the hunter is shooting the animal, so animal is shot, the animal is not dead, but he is injured so far. So he said the hunter will not trust it. Then he takes the animal and ties the animal to the tree and he goes hunting for the next one. He is fearing that as soon as I go, what will happen? This animal might run away. But he's already been shot by him. How will this animal run away? But he says, because he's not dead. So in the same way, he gives example, although I may be self-controlled, Rishabdev, I have already controlled myself from the sense objects. But the thing is, the senses are not dead yet. They're still active. So if you are a little bit unattentive to it, just like Lord Krishna gives an example, Bayuna Vanivam Shashir, a boat in the water. Okay? You might be an expert boaterman rowing the boat, but for a second you think that I'm going to take a nap. Okay? The person who is rowing the boat goes to sleep, and meanwhile a wind comes. What happens to the boat? It gets swept away. Isn't it? So same way Rishabdev gives an example that yes, I understand what you are saying, but it is not right and befitting for me to be surrounded by the sense object. Where are the sense objects? In the kingdom. He has his wife there, he has his children there, isn't it? If your grandchild, you are trying to sit down and do your chanting, and your grandson comes and sits in your lap saying, Dada, can you play with me for 5 minutes, then after you can chant, I will go. Now what are you going to say? You are going to push him or say, okay, beta, I am going to put my japamala here and you can sit down in my lap. Maybe it's not going to be 5 minutes, maybe it's going to be 5 years. Maybe it's going to be 10 years because attachment develop again. You see, so therefore Rishabdev will say, my dear son, I don't want to be surrounded by sense gratification, I want to go. I would go to the forest and in secluded place, under the association of the devotees who are in the forest, I want to cultivate myself. So Rishabdev goes. But before he goes, his son, he takes the complete advantage. Just like, there is a saying, that when the people are with us, we think that he will be ever with us. We really don't comprehend anyone leaving us behind. And that happened really. We all have parents, isn't it, at some point. We are still lucky to have them. And some of us we lost. If you think that you are going to have your father, ek raat tak pita ke saath, I am going to stay with my father for one night today. Some of us, that is only a dream for us. Isn't it? But at the time we had it, we never thought that we'd ever lose it. Isn't it? I don't have my father. So the day I know him, I thought my daddy is going to be there forever. But what is lost for good. So some of us will never get any chance. So therefore, Rishabdev did not want to take any chance. He went to the forest and his son never wanted to take any chance. He knew what his father was in the level of. So he says, my dear father, then tell me, as an instruction to your son, what is the greatest work that I can ever do in order to benefit myself? So you think his father is going to tell him anything lie now? At that point, when he's just about to leave a home and never see his children again, he's going to tell him, something that is not going to be beneficial. Just try to understand the circumstance of this instruction he's giving him. And that's how we take it in our life also. It's an absolute instruction he gives him. Then he speaks this verse. He says, Mahatsevam dwara ahor vimukta, tamo dwaram yosuta sangi sangha, mahantistasya sita prasantat bimanya bhasuri sadhu hai. He says, service to the Mahatmas, means the great devotees of the Lord. Service to the Mahatmas opens the door of liberation. He says the key to that door is in the hand of the Mahatmas. They will open the door for you. Yes? So what is his instruction to him? So he says service to Mahatma opens the door of liberation. So therefore he says, my dear son, at any cost, serve the devotees. Mahatsevam dwara ahor vimukta. So the door of liberation opens by who? The sadhus. Then he goes second part. Mahatsevam dwara ahor vimukta. Then goes tamo dwaram yo sutta sangi sangha. He is not racist or anything. He is just teaching a principle here. He says the door of hell is opened when you either associate with a woman or a man in any condition out of your restrictions, or associate with a man who is too attached to the woman also. But basically, those who are too much attached to the enjoyment begotten by the help of the skin. Those people who rely on such type of things. He says they will close the door of perfection. So therefore, Mahatsevam dwara ahor vimukta, tamo dharam yo sutta sangi sangha. Associate with the devotee. Mahantestasya sita prasantat. Then he says, therefore, any devotees who had very high intellectual knowledge, right from beginning they rejected everything. He said, like, sometimes people say, "Eh, jogi log kya jante hai?" We think that we are the knowers of everything. They log kya jante hai ghar ka baat? What do they know about family life? He never even got married. But the thing is, why do you think he never got married? Because he had a higher vision to understand this fact right from beginning, then from very beginning. So therefore the Shastras say the greatest thing that you can ever do in a life is insult such type of devotees. And as Rishabdev says, that is the thing that closes the door of perfection. Mahatsevam dwara ahor vimukta, tamo dharam yosuta sangi sangha. Mahantestasya sita prasantat. Those devotees who are prasantat. What does prasantat means? Peaceful, self-satisfied. Okay? We are not peaceful. Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, sakale, asanta. Those people who have a lot of ambitions, they can never be happy. This year I need degree, next year I need job. After that $1 million, then second one. Then the third one, then a fourth one. What does Krishna says to those type of people? He says, Aneka chitta vibranta mohajala samavritam prasasta kam bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chau. They live in a dream. Aneka chitta vibranta. Their intelligent being perplexed by so many types of desires and hope. Asa pasa sataj baddha. And they take shelter of insatiable lust, he said. In that way, the entire life is dovetailed in a way that how I can collect. The demoniac mentality comes, he says, from that. What is the demoniac mentality? Krishna talks about the demoniac mentality. Let's see how much of this fits with our life. Okay? He is not really talking about anybody. He just talks about the principle here. He says the demoniac mentality is that he thinks, idam adya maya labdha. I have gained so much today. If I work hard like this, I will get more tomorrow. Idam adya maya labdha. Imam prapse marodham. Idam astidam apime. If I work hard, I will get more dhan. Now, when I am working very hard, if somebody tries to disturb me or brings obstacle, he says, aso maya hata satra, I must destroy him then. So most of the time, does this ideas come in our mind also? So Krishna is saying these are the demonic mentality that we have. That anybody that is challenging to our self-gratification, he must be destroyed. Bhavishanti punatanam. Aso maya hata satrur. Anyone who is against my idea of enjoyment is called my satru. Sometimes that satru can be your wife or you can be husband. मुझे मटर पनीर अच्छा लगता था, तुमने आलू पनीर बना लिया आज. What are you trying to do to me? Don't you understand my sentiment? He is not, we are not ready to adjust with anything else when it does not match with our interest. So this is called asomaya hatar. I will destroy the existence of somebody else in order to fulfill my existence. Why should it be you that is happy? Why don't you accept that somebody else should be happy? Why don't you do something in order to make somebody happy? Then he said, they think, because Ishwaraham, Aham Bhogi Siddho Aham Balvam Sugya, I am God. There is no something called God. There is no Ram, there is no Krishna. I am God, I am the center. It's me supposed to be enjoying. Siddhoham, what makes you God? He said, I am Siddhoham, I am perfect person. Look at, don't you see me? When I wear tie and suit, how good I look. Only when I don't shave my beard for a week, then I look bad. Although I am okay. So begin to justify our existence. Isn't it? The Shastras said that if you leave the body as it is been created, within 10 days time, none of us will look like that anyone should see us. We'll be all wrinkled, for men, all the beard should be coming out. No one wants to, be with this person, no one will be attracted. Every single day, just to cover up our weakness, or just to cover up the reality that we are on, we do so much of investment. Otherwise, there is no reality. Isn't it? कितना डाइटिंग, कितने लोग जिम में कितना खर्च करते हैं, 2 दिन घर में खाना खाए उनका पेट फूलना चालू हो गई. So then we spend so much money go for dieting. That's the reality of the material world. So therefore, going back to Narad Muni, this is the topic today here. So therefore, going back to Narad Muni, he is saying, my dear king, don't be so foolish and accept this path. He said, your performance of sacrifice is that, now he gives an example of a deer again, goes back to the deer. He says, that is like a deer. You are trying to take the help of your intelligence in order to enjoy. But you don't know there is a hunter at the back, and there is a tiger at the front. So if you try to protect yourself from the tiger, who gets you? The hunter. And if you try to protect yourself from the hunter, who gets you? The tiger. Are you spared from any side? So therefore, if you try to run away from Krishna, who gets you?
Maya.
Maya gets you. If you try to enjoy the sense gratification, then you are caught by the Maya. Then if you try to run away from Maya, who gets you? Krishna gets you. Now who do you want to be caught by? Krishna. So ultimately you will want to be caught by Krishna. Somebody is going to catch you. So the choice is ours. Now he is saying in a sense gratification, he gives an example. He is saying sense gratification, one side is a kala, the time factor is going to get you. The time factor is the tiger. Okay? When the tiger tries to catch an animal, before the step when the tiger begins to run, there is a total focus. And he gets into the position of running. Okay, once I start running, what position will be the best for me? What if he goes to right? He has all the options. If the animal runs to the right, this is the direction I'm going to go through. If he goes from the left, this is the direction I'm going to go through. Because the tiger is also afraid of the hunter. And the tiger will be shot by the hunter. So the tiger is totally focused. Now the deer is focused in the grass. He is looking down. Isn't it? The tiger and the hunters are looking straight. So therefore Krishna says, Bevi Sayat Vika Buddhi Eke Ha Kuru Nandana. When your mind is one pointed intelligent, you are totally focused, you are in a safe position. But most of the time, our head is down always, sense gratification of the earthly planet. So we don't see the time. Time we call the tiger, we don't see the tiger. Isn't it? The example of a Kalkanya. We fight a battle. We are fighting a battle for existence every day. We are trying to try the new method of enjoyment. Isn't it? New method of enjoyment every single day. Our life is totally busy on that method. So we don't even realize, until and unless we go to a doctor and the doctor says, sir, how are you? Good. You have 6 months to live. Then now you search for the process. And by then everything is done already. So this is what Narad Muni is telling him. My dear king, you have already done all this. And we're already finished now. Then don't be so foolish that by sacrificing the animals, because now he has justified that every living entity, sometime he goes to the higher planetary system, sometime to the lower planetary system, sometime to the different species of life, just to become happy, isn't it? So therefore, every living entity that ever exists, they are meant for their happiness. The lion is there because he wanted to be a lion, isn't it? Just like Manusmriti says that if after having a human form of life, we just want to swim in the ocean all the time. 100 years of our life, we spend 90 years in the water. Then why you need a human form of life? Do you really need? I mean, it's a torture, you see, trying to swim in the water with a big tank at the back. It's so uncomfortable. Better just be a fish. So looking at this nature, the Lord is going to offer you the life of a fish. Isn't it? Then Manusmriti says, there being a human form of life, your body not being so much designed to eat meat and flesh. The body is not designed such a way that you eat meat, you can digest. Tomorrow morning, you can sleep. To maybe digest one plate of meat, you have to go for 3 bottles of soda. I need to take a lot of sodas because I am unable to digest this. Then, why the human form of life? Manusmriti says, just be awarded with the life. But lion has no problem. The lion eats the entire buffalo and he's sleeping with, I see in YouTube sometimes, the lion, he just ate a whole buffalo. Then he's snoring there, sleeping very nicely. Humans don't snore like that and sleep that way after eating such a heavy meal. So therefore, the Shastra explains that according to the desire of a living entity is to dominate and exploit the material nature, the Lord is going to give the specific type of body. So my dear king, if you are particularly attracted to this animalistic life and you are particularly attached to eating the flesh of another living entity, no problem. It is not only one species of life. There are 400,000 species of life. 400,000 species of life. That's human. Other are 8 millions. There are still 8 millions of them left side. So this is the rare one. Okay. So the Lord will say, my dear sir, you want to really enjoy. Let me give a body that is fitted for you. So therefore, he says, my dear king, don't be so foolish. It is not. If you really want to make, then king justifies saying, I am doing this to make God happy. I am getting this to make Krishna happy. Then he said, don't be so foolish. Who told you this? He says, I am the teacher for the principle of religion. Who is that? Who is the teacher that is talking to him? Narad Muni. He is saying that I am the teacher of religion. I teach people what is right and wrong. What comes from my mouth becomes the scriptures. Then Parchinavarishad, he actually said, yes, my teachers have been wrong. Maybe they were wrong who asked me to do the sacrifice. He said, yes, the level of your teacher was such that they could only communicate with the sacrifice of animals. They were not in a higher level. So therefore Parchinavarishad, he said, okay, I am rejecting them then from today. I will accept you as a bona fide spiritual master. Now you tell me what to do. He says the procedure is very simple, my dear king. You don't need to go through all this. Satam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. It's so easy. He said, you have to simply chant the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namno hi yavate shakti papa nirarane hare. Tavatapi nasabniti patakamba agam naraha. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu kahe yanara mukhe suni ekavad, Krishna naam se puja shreshta savakar. The question is, one of the devotees asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who should be worshipped, who should be respected, and who should be honored? That's what the question is. Then he says, Prabhu kahe yanara mukhe suni ekavad. If you hear that somebody is chanting the holy name of Krishna just once, how many times? One mala? One mala? One full Mahamantra? No. How many times? Just one Krishna. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying. Prabhu kahe yanara mukhe suni ekavad. Krishna Nam Se Puja Shrestha Savakar. He said, if you hear somebody chanting the holy name of the Lord once with his heart, then he is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. And your duty is to serve him. So this he says to the person who chants just once. The next he says, Krishna Nam Nirantar Yanara Vadane Se Vaishnava Shrestha Bhajatanara Charane. He says, now if you find a Vaishnava who does Krishna Nam Nirantar, he is always chanting the holy name of the Lord. Se Vaishnava Shrestha Bhaja. He says, that Vaishnava is the Shrestha Vaishnava. And Tanara Charane. If you want any perfection in your life, just worship his lotus feet and everything you get it. Okay. So then Narad Muni says the process is so simple. Why do you want to entangle yourself? Most of the time we think that in order to get a big result we need something very big. This is a concept, isn't it? Agar havan, if you are doing a havan, if you do 4 kilos of ghee, then you are going to get more money. If it is 1 kilo of ghee, it's a little bit less. So this is our concept. In order to get something very big, you have to do something very big. Isn't it? Just like, have you watched that movie of Anand? And there is this person that is offering an incense, a devotee who does the incense offering in the morning time and worship the deity. And he is very opulent, his house is perfect, his children are all devotees of the Lord. So somebody just seeing him going through so much, he said, yes, that guy offers 3 incense in the morning and he's so happy. Then he goes and buys the whole truck of agarbatti. Then along with the truck, he lights the agarbatti also. Then he said, that guy got so much by lighting 3 incense. Now I'm lighting a whole truck. So in that way, he lost all the investment that he did in the incense, and he also lost the truck, which is also the source of income. And he is coming. So there is no such thing that you have to do something very big in order to get a big result. Sometimes something very small can do the big thing. And the example of that is the tongue. The tongue. The Shastra says the tongue. How big is the tongue compared to the body? How big?
Small.
Okay. Now, you do one thing. You serve somebody for 20 years. For 20 years, give your wife whatever she wants. Whatever she wants. The word comes from her mouth. Before even it drops to the ground, just give her what she wants. For 20 years. And after giving for 20 years, just for 2 seconds, say something nasty with your tongue.
No.
Let's how much it can damage.
Ah. Yes.
You understand the theory? So, it's not a question of you need a big object in order to do the big work. Sometimes the smallest tools can do the big work. Now, other word, something that is not, the Srimad Bhagavatam says that the pious result that you do in a millions of years of lifetimes. Okay, if you chant the holy name of the Lord just once, okay, it can grant you a result of millions of lifetimes. Just you do once, nothing more. Therefore, what's the sloka? Namno hi yavate saktir papa nirarane hare tavat api nasaknoti patakampa agham nara. एक होता है पापी. पापी का अर्थ क्या है? जो पाप करता है. What are the papis? Now, there are 2 terms here. The papi and the aparadhi. Have you heard of that? Sometimes you use the word aparad. Sometimes you hear the word pap. So, what is the difference between pap and aparad? Because the term is used here as a, the most sinful one. Patakampa agham. Agham, the lowest of mankind. That's what agham means. Okay. So here, first term is papam. Then comes the mahapapam. Then comes the apradham. Then comes the agham. So the sloka should have said just papi. Doesn't say. It says agham. Means the lowest of all. So papam basically means, papam is something that you commit by making somebody else dissatisfied or just torturing somebody else.